America Meditating Radio Show, we collect wisdom, inspire each other, and empower hearts 24/7. Hi, I'm Sister Jenna. Join me and guest on Blog Talk Radio as we amplify stories that compel us to be more for ourselves and everyone else around us.
There's no place like home.
Getting home safely is just a click away. Find the right seat for your little one's age and size. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat for more information. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Take a break. Breathe. Why don't you visit the Peace Village Learning and Retreat Center, 518-589-5000.
Get off the grid and step inside your heart. Sister Jenna guides you through a powerful, encouraging, and motivating meditation that allows you to let go and become aware of you, regain strength, power, and peace.
Hi, my name is Misty Crutchfield with Gandhi's Bee Magazine, an online magazine designed to raise awareness and inspire people about all of the amazing things happening in the world, as well as all the challenging things that can help us raise awareness so we can make a difference in the world and be the change. One of my inspirations is Sister Jenna and America Meditating Radio. I listen, you should too.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to America Meditating Radio. I'm your host, Sister Jenna, and I hope today finds you well and thriving and filled with light and power. That was Elijah Ray from his Band of Light. I love being here. I just adore this young man. I met him in Kauai when I was there on a tour, all of our friends on the island, talking about my latest CD, and I can't begin to tell you the heart and the spirit that this young man has. And so if you ever get a chance to go and look for his records, I think he'd be really a good investment. So 2016 is on the move. We are still grappling with some current day issues, perhaps things that we grappled with 5 years ago, 10 years ago, maybe even 20 years ago. Perhaps they've even amplified more. For the sake of progress, we say that we are. Technology tends to distract us from what's really at the core of our issues and problems, because sometimes when you've got an illness, but then someone invites you or says, hey, you've just won the Powerball, you forget the illness and you're caught up in that. And I feel that if we keep allowing ourselves to get distracted, what actually is at the base of what's deteriorating or breaking down only gets worse. And then the generations that are going to follow will have to inherit something that might not be very operable. So I'm inviting you to stay tuned. We're going to have a wonderful conversation with a friend of mine that I've known for quite a number of years here in D.C. I think she's just phenomenal and adorable and a champion. I call her like a spiritual warrior, you know. When I look at her, I sometimes think of Wonder Woman. And that's quite interesting in Washington, D.C. Nora Maccoby is going to join us shortly, and we're going to have a beautiful heart-to-heart conversation with her on the work that she's doing. But for now, I'd like to take us into the zone, you know, that place that we love to go on the America Meditating Radio, and that is to take a minute of silence, to clear our minds, and to elevate consciousness. So from the Just a Minute Meditation CD, take a moment to breathe in deeply and relax.
A clear mind. Taking just a minute, I turn my attention inwards. I silently observe my thoughts. Each thought, a ripple on the surface of a lake. I gently remind myself, I am like that deep, tranquil lake. As my mind touches tranquility, I allow calmness to wash over me, clearing the mind, returning me to my true peaceful nature. I allow peace to flow into my actions.
Thank you. That was A Clear Mind by Sister Genty on the Just a Minute Meditation CD. Just imagine if all of our world leaders, and even if your mom and dad or just your spouse had a clear mind, what the world would be like today. I think, a lot of those emotional feelings or karmic issues of the past that tend to interfere in our consciousness, we would be able to clearly explain what we mean and what we feel without there being any motive. And one of the reasons I feel that the world is in the condition that it's in today is that there are all of these hidden, unfulfilled feelings which are so attached now to our consciousness that as much as we believe that we're doing good, it backfires on us in one way or the other. I have to tell you a story, one of the things, the show is doing amazingly well. And Antonia and I have been in situations where we're just awful at social media, but we're great at human relationships. So we got like 10 calls last year from friends all around the world. Sister Jenna, with the work that you're doing and with who you are and just what you contribute to the world, people are not going to hear you or listen or even want to have you on their show if they look at your social media numbers and there's just nothing there. And I go, I hear you. But we're just not good at that. And, we're okay. We're okay if I can bank on the 365 guests and friends that we meet every year intimately and personally on the radio show, and then have them for a retreat setting for 2-3 days in the Catskills at Peace Village Learning and Retreat Center. That's enough for me. Maybe I just don't have any ambition. But here we are, almost 2 years later and 1 million listeners. That's amazing. So we're doing something right, wouldn't you say? So let me turn the lines to our lovely Sister Gita. She'll be reading something to us, and she's at the beautiful Meditation Museum in Silver Spring. Sister Gita, welcome.
Good day to you. It's a wonderful day.
It's always a wonderful day, Sister Gita, with your around, your presence, energy, your 30 years of contribution to service. The world's a better place because of you.
And I am so grateful to the Divine for bringing in my life the good people like yourself who, without any motives, just allow me to go on when I'm a little less courageous.
Well, I mind my business, and that really protects me, so carry on.
From the heart. Thank you very much.
All right, what do you have for us today?
Just a moment, please. That's the title of the book. I'm not cutting you off. And this book can be obtained at any Brahmakumaris center. And, of course, that involves our 2 meditation museums in the metropolitan area. The topic is use mental energy wisely. Whilst I wait at the bus stop or traffic light, what is going on through my mind? While I am bathing or cooking food, what type of thought am I having? I sometimes check myself. What am I thinking? At a time when world resources are at their lowest and people working towards conserving energy, am I throwing away enormous quantities of thoughts, of energy by the second? I ask myself. When I use up a lot of physical energy, my body becomes fatigued. In exactly the same way, by expending large quantities of mental energy, the mind gets tired, giving rise to frustration, boredom, tensions, etc. When my mind is tired and fatigued, then every thought becomes difficult. Every thought becomes difficult, hence every task seems difficult. It is good to examine myself and see just where my energy is being lost. Even if I eat well and nourish my body with care, I may still find myself feeling tired and worn out if I do not use my mental energy wisely. How am I using my mental energy? There are 4 types of thoughts. Positive thoughts that elevates me, negative thoughts that takes me down the stairs to realization. Then there are waste thoughts, thinking about others, regretting the past, living the life of should have. These thoughts take energy. What are you thinking, my lovely brothers and sisters? Om Shanti. Om Shanti.
Beautiful. Thank
Another
you so
type
much.
of thought is mundane, ordinary thoughts that I need to have whilst I work and live in a material world. So that adds up to 4. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful, pensive day.
Well, we're very happy to welcome Nora Maccoby, who is an energy strategist and an award-winning filmmaker who trained in theater directing and playwriting at Oberlin College and earned an MFA in film directing from the American Film Institute, where she won numerous of awards. She even co-wrote Bongwater and Buffalo Soldiers, where she was nominated for 6 Independent Spirit Awards, won the Evening Standard Award for Best Screenplay in 2003. Now, in 2002, while researching a film on the 1983 U.S. invasion of Grenada in the West Indies, she began working with the local government to develop clean energy solutions and later work with leaders to create Nature's Partners, a bipartisan energy literacy initiative and common ground for a national energy conversation. You see, Nora is a champion of clean energy technologies and a strategist for bringing them to the public. She has appeared on C-SPAN, led workshops internationally, and brought together leaders in the investment world with green technology. Today we have our wonderful sister, very, very good friend, Nora Maccoby, on the America Meditating Radio. Hello, my beloved.
Hello, nice to hear your amazing show.
I know, right?
Yeah, it's beautiful. I love it.
It's been such a while that we've been here, and I think you're one of the few folks who've seen us from many, many years ago and watching just the spiritual growth. I want to call it more of that. I want to talk more about you, though. I saw I think they call it a Grammy. Is it Grammy for music, or what's that beautiful statue that was at your house when I came by?
That's the Evening Standard Award. It's an angel.
There we go.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
It goes to show that I don't have a television. Anyway, so I remember seeing that and asking you what that felt like, having it, and you were just like, it just shows, your work. It's just a little bit of who you are. It wasn't the whole you. So I know that your films tend to do well. How did you become interested in filmmaking, first of all? And what is it about making films that seem to appeal to you?
It's funny because I go in and out of, filmmaking is making visible the invisible, right? And
right.
So there are many different forms to do that. And filmmaking merges a lot of different disciplines. And I would say, first and foremost, I'm probably a painter, a drawer, and then a writer. But it all starts with thinking, with our thought. And what is the point of being here? Why are we here? With Buffalo Soldiers, I started out making short films when I was like 12 or 13. And I was growing up in Washington, D.C., and I would go down to the White House, in front of the White House, where they were having, the Iran-Contra stuff, and you had for Contras and against Contras, and so I would make these little documentaries about protests and concepts, and I started a TV network at Sidwell Friends when I was in high school there. But, what I was concerned with was the propaganda system of, that was there were positives and negatives, but there was a real propaganda system that was dictating social mores and values. And I wanted to get in on that and sort of help lift the level of discourse and, why are we here? Why are we living on Earth? And when Buffalo Soldiers happened, it was a very surreal experience. And I ended up in Grenada right when 9/11 happened. And I was investigating why the U.S. had invaded in '83 on my birthday. But I also was just sort of blown away by the place. It's a very spiritual place, and I was assisting, my ex was an alchemist, and I was assisting in herbal medicine research in the rainforest, and getting to know the locals and these 80-year-old women who had, incredible joints from soaking in the sulfur, and they started, teaching me a lot about the plants. And then I got dengue fever, which was a completely life-changing experience. And I was living in a tree house.
I love that story.
Yeah, overhanging the water. And I just got beaten down, that last mosquito, and I started to understand the connection that the mosquitoes were. It was almost like interspecial communication, and they were losing their homes, and so they were fighting back. But then there was this whole metaphor of the mosquito, of if one mosquito can decimate an entire population of humans, what can one human do? And how can we use this metaphor for larger social and change? And by this time it was like I'd had a few near-death experiences, and dengue is a real initiation into, everybody got it differently. It was almost like taking LSD. Or going through some sort of, rainforest process, and it fundamentally changed me. And I realized that I didn't want to die and be ashamed that I didn't do everything possible at this moment in time to serve the planet. And so I became very focused on how can I best serve. And at this time, I was also reading a lot of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother. And I realized I was at the same latitude as Oroville. And I was really inspired by their messages of the light and the power of the light, of the intelligence, and the purpose of humanity to serve and to bridge the world. And then I saw that I was working with the government there, and I was working with this amazing NGO led by this woman, Denise Ogilvie. And I would have stayed there forever, but I felt like I had work to do in Washington, D.C., because I understood the terrain, and I was a wordsmith, and Buffalo Soldiers, it had been banned for 2 years. At this time, it was banned in the U.S., but it became an anti-war vehicle in Europe. So I could see the power of, a film and, what it could do, one way or the other. And so I came back to D.C., and I started just trying to, nudge people. Why aren't we transitioning to renewables? Like, this is crazy. And people were kind of zombies, and I didn't understand that. I didn't understand why everybody wasn't working full time, and transitioning. The fate of the planet was so severe.
Well, let me interject here. I don't think many people were living in the treehouse overlooking the ocean at the time, and so their thinking will be different. And, you have been raised in Washington, D.C. It's such a different climate here. Mm-hmm. It is such a different world. You've got these contradictions where I want to save the world, I want to protect America, and then at the same token, you've got some other conversation going on that I don't care about the world, it's all for myself.
Right.
And forget the planet, it's going to go anyway. And
right.
so you've got individuals like you who are waking up or who are up and you're going, look, there's a way that we can add to the continuity. I've got a son. I want to see him growing into a future. And there are many, many kids on the planet. So I love the metaphor of the one mosquito and what it can do, because you might be the one that the world is waiting for. I know that you have, I think you've finished writing a new book. It's entitled The Intelligence. And the genre is a combination of science fiction, spiritual philosophy, and consciousness. I know you don't want the whole world to know all about the book, but please, can you just give us a little bit of a sneak preview?
Well, it's basically, so I came back, I got recruited by a military brain trust of high-level officers who were against the war in Iraq and who saw the energy issue as the issue of our time and the weakness of our national security. And so there were people that were understanding, and we were bridging a whole bunch of ideas towards this one aim. And, I had this vision that we could move the environmental movement into the clean energy movement, bring the left and the right together, have a common, single issue, single column of movement, of invest in our own people, partner with our own resources, use common sense, and diversity and choice, make those energy words, and stop allowing the corporate overlords to dictate our dialogue. It was like, let's have a real conversation about moving forward, everybody together, because it's possible, And so I had also studied a lot of sort of philosophical series of books called The Law of One. And the basic premise is that you can either serve yourself at the expense of others, or you can serve yourself by serving others. And one is the pyramid, one is the circle. And I love this idea of serving yourself through serving others, because it's common sense, and it's more fun, and it's lyrical, and it's harmonic, and it gets into ideas of music. And that's another thing. I'm a violinist. I grew up teacher with Sheila Johnson. I watched her develop BET, Black Entertainment Television, from the age of 5. And so I saw, somebody do something that was basically impossible, and she did it. And it took 20 years, her and her husband, Bobby, but they did it. And everyone said they wouldn't. And so I love the idea of, is it possible to make the impossible possible? And against all odds, this is the great Hollywood story, too. So, in some respects, in the early 2000s, I made a conscious decision to put most of my energy into activism within the system instead of filmmaking, because I wanted to do something that was real, that was literal. And I was finding that there was this incredible movement inside the Department of Defense of people who got it, who saw that we were going to war for resources. They saw that we had options that we weren't using that could save lives. And what started to happen was that 70% of our casualties were from convoys moving oil and water to the front lines. And when we got solar energy to the front lines, we saved lives. Mm-hmm. When we started getting solar-powered internet schools to villages in Afghanistan, they threw the Taliban out. And here were these success stories, these amazing wins, and the possibility of wow, we can have a winning system where people help each other succeed, and it's actually way more functional than the other way, which is, materially gross and doesn't make sense anymore. But anyway, so I got really deep into that, obviously, and now I'm kind of coming back into the movie stuff and just telling the tales of what I've learned the last 10 years and the worlds that I've traversed. So I got very deep inside all these worlds, and I wanted to write something that would help people navigate the sort of undulating waves of reality that are coming at us right now, and help people understand how it works, how the system works, how the layers of sort of wag the dog, the shadow world, and the secret controllers, and what tools we have to rise above the machinery that exists.
I have to say that it could be extremely murky or scary waters for the average Joe Schmo who might be just waking up, going to work, they pay their bill, they watch the Super Bowl, they go on a vacation maybe once a year, and they don't really want to know all the happenings that are happening behind the scene, because that means they might have to be more accountable or more responsible, or maybe scared as heck, that there's nothing that I can do. These powers are bigger than me. But I believe, like what you said again at the beginning of our conversation, one mosquito can change everything. And so to find a way to really incorporate writing that, hey, there is a shadow energy that is existing, but there's also a light energy that's existing. And what we're in conversation on is that we're looking for individuals to apply for the light energy. We need to work towards that light energy because the shadow energy has to do what it has to do. And I know that you received credit for President Bush's State of the Union line when he declared America has a problem and that we were addicted to oil. And so we're addicted to oil, we're addicted to our SUVs, we're addicted to the way that we have acclimated ourselves to this lifestyle here. So when someone comes along and says, turn down your thermostat a little bit like Carter did, and they thought he was loony, or when we start to say, let's get electric cars so we don't have to be subjugated to the Middle East and really sell our souls for oil, it takes a while because I believe that as souls, we are here to give more than we take. And it doesn't necessarily mean everyone believes that. A lot of people feel we've got only one life to live. I'm going to live it to my fullest. Forget the guy next door. It's just about me and my family. It's a very complex story, which I'm sure you have been living through and witnessed. Now, here's my question for Nora Maccoby. Do you ever get disillusioned? It's sort of like, I can't do this anymore. I want to put my head under the ground and just disappear.
Of course. Of course. All the time. All the time. No, I mean,
how do you keep going?
Gratitude. Gratitude for what I have. Gratitude for the joy and the love that I have all around me. And for the beauty of the planet. I mean, it's just stunning. And the trees, like life itself. No, I think, and music, that's why I wrote the book. Again, I mean, I wrote it in as a science fiction narrative so that it's entertaining and it's fun. And it's rooted in real research that I did about Grenada. I couldn't do it. It's in present day, but it's all real stuff that actually did happen. I mean, I think that you have to accept the dark to really understand the light. I think you have to acknowledge it and move through it to build wisdom. I think you can't deny it. You can't just sort of push it off because I think I did that and it didn't work. You know, to process.
I know what you mean. I think it's because we're scared. We don't have enough knowledge of what I call dark is algae, anger, lust, greed, attachment, and ego, which certain of my brothers and sisters have mastered. They've just mastered that dimension, and some of them even make it look so good. It's called Hollywood, it's called politics, it's called corporate power. You know, just make it look so good. So then you have a lot of innocent folks who are really working paycheck to paycheck who are feeling, but I deserve that too because I'm putting in so much. Why don't I get that? So you get a society of people who might be just so, I don't know, angry at a system that they don't really understand what's behind it, or they might be feeling that they're being used or abused by the system, or they might even want to hop into the story and try to take advantage of the system, thinking that they can get to that point. But I think what we really need to keep conveying, Nora, is you have more than enough. Travel to the rest of the world and see how little people have, and then come back home and go, I'm so fortunate. Let me count my blessings and let me give more than I receive, and that I'm okay.
Well, I mean, the simplest moments of random kindness, which, you know, when you move into a practice of just practicing kindness, I mean, I think it's incredibly powerful. I think the power of that starts to move people, and I think we're coming into a time where these will be the great pockets of wealth that you'll have. I mean, you know, the system can go bankrupt, but what I saw in every single time, I've had maybe 7, you know, revamps of life. Like when I got to that point of near death, I mean, it was always when I came back out of it, it was all of this is illusion. It's just your soul.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
You know, so we have this opportunity to develop that soul here and grow it and share it and love more and lift the level.
Mm-hmm. So leave our listeners with maybe 1 or 2 things that Nora Maccoby does that keeps her soul lifted.
Every day I do practice. I've sort of invented. You know, that's
well,
the other
you're creative.
thing. Like,
it's natural for you to do that.
Well, number 1 is to have a sense of humor about myself. I mean, and, you know, my most success in terms of like what I've been able to do or help others with has been predicated on like, what can I get away with here? You know, what is going to amuse me and also be like super radical and change making at the same time. You know, like I work with China, with the International Fund for China's Environment, and we had a board meeting the other day, and I discovered that 3% of the water of China is all they have right now. 3%.
Wow.
3%.
Wow.
And I was like,
4 billion people.
This is not a Chinese problem. This is a global problem that we all have to get together on and work. So, you know, we have some overwhelming issues. So how do I do it? So every morning I do the Tibetan Rite. They're on the internet. I highly recommend them. They keep your main chakras aligned and focused and with intention. And then I do yoga practice, and I spend a lot of time upside down because it helps my shoulders roll, my burdens go. And then I pray.
I spend a lot of time upside down.
As much time as I can, you know, because I only have an hour to do this, which is a lot of time most people don't have. But I make the time because my ability to function is so much bigger if I meditate. And I do a mantra it's a Tibetan mantra, Oma Hung Vajra Guru Pima Siddhi Hung, which is a prayer for all species, all lineages, all life on Earth. And then I go about my day. But the nudging out of despair, I mean, I tend to sometimes fall into despair, and I have to nudge myself out. And, you know, humor, of course, is humor, gratitude, and meditation, and friends, which can sort of combine all 4.
It's very important.
Yeah, and then the writing, painting. I've been doing a lot of work and just trying to understand the invisible. That's kind of my thing.
Nora, thank you for your contribution, and it will not go to waste, and it's already making a dent. Lots of good wishes for your upcoming new book. I'm sure it'll keep juxtaposing people's thoughts and direction in which they're taking their lives and the planet forward. So many, many good wishes on that. I've loved our conversation as usual. Before I let you go, leave our listeners with a life quote that could keep them inspired. And is there a website or an upcoming event that you're participating in that you'd like individuals to know about?
I have a website in development for my paintings, noramaccoby.com, and I'm on Instagram as Maccoby2013, and so it's NORAMACCOBY.com. And then also the Maccoby Group is where the strategic consulting work goes on for clean energy transition. And I have some movies I'm working on. And I'm actually about to do a really big art installation that incorporates a lot of these thoughts. So lots going on. But, if one mosquito can decimate an entire population of humans, think what one human can do positively. That's what
I love that.
Set out. Yeah.
I love that, Nora Maccoby. Thank you so much. Give William a big hug for me. It was so sweet having him at the museum. He was like a natural.
He loves it. So he's coming back.
Beautiful. All the very best, my friend. Take care.
All right, bye.
Bye. Lovely personality and creative to a core, and at the same time educated and very passionate about the world. We can make a difference if we put our whole heart and soul in, and at the same time be patient. Doesn't matter what's happening, who's doing what, who's holding the ball, who's in control. Your contribution of goodness and kindness will not go to waste. Hope you've enjoyed my conversation with Nora. Please do stay tuned for her upcoming book. I'm sure it's going to be quite a winner. And for more information on Nora, go to Maccoby.com/Nora. Remember, no one can take away your happiness unless you give them permission. We are here to love each other the same. So let's give thanks for that. And if you're going to change the world, start with yourself. Let's end with, again, Elijah Ray. He's got a nice rap song on giving thanks, and that's how I'd like to end the show today. Take care, my friends.
Oh. Well, I gotta give thanks once again, bringing in the word for the world of men. Say, this goes out to the children. No matter what they tell you, you could never say no. We are here, we are divine, and the time has come for us all to shine. And I give thanks for the one mind, and I give thanks for the love design. I said, let the sunlight fill your eyes, let your voices harmonize. When you look into a child's eyes, you can see everything is God in the sky. So relax, as it all rearranges. We are all going through the same changes. I like to sing a song with you, so give thanks one time. What you gonna do? Give thanks. Give thanks. People of the world, waking up, I give thanks. Give thanks. This is how I fill my cup. I give thanks. Give thanks. Whoa, 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 I give thanks. Give thanks. I'm giving thanks for this life that I'm living and what I'm seeing. Freeing up my mind for what I truly believe in. Giving thanks for the children and the light that they spark in my heart. Inspire the way that I walk and I talk. I'd rather teach them of what they could be than what they are not. Faith in they channeling, third eye spot, celestial vision, and the voice they got, and the love that we all will never be stopped. Giving thanks for the tools and the jewels that we blessed with. Use them in a time when life gets hectic. Band of light, yeah, that's the nexus. The place where people come and get connected. Earth, wind, water, fire. Ancient ancestors' wisdom takes us higher. Builds a foundation for 7 generations to come. We are one. Give thanks. People of the world, waking up, I give thanks. Give thanks. This is how I fill my cup. I give thanks. Give